For the Special Magistrate Code Enforcement meeting of Monday, October 6th, 2025. Hello, my name is Erica Augello, and I am the appointed Special Magistrate to hear today's cases. I am a practicing attorney licensed by the Florida Bar and board certified in city, county, and local government law. I have been appointed to this position in accordance with the authority set forth in Chapter 162 Florida statutes and the City of St. Pete Beach Code of Ordinances. I am not an employee of the City of St. Pete Beach and do not represent the city here today. I do not confer with the city's code enforcement officers outside of the hearing process about your cases. It is my role to fairly and objectively review the matters presented. As such, I would like to advise you of certain matters related to today's proceedings. Today's matters will be heard in the order on which they appear on the agenda unless otherwise agreed. Every effort will be made to hear all persons having relevant evidence, arguments, or comment related to the specific case that is being heard. If you wish to speak today, it is necessary that you be sworn in, which I will do momentarily. All testimony given will be done so under oath. And in all cases, since the city has the burden of proof, the city will present its case first. The respondent will then be given an opportunity to refute the city's allegations. Formal rules of evidence do not apply to this proceeding. However, I will make every effort to ensure that fundamental fairness and due process is afforded to all parties. After hearing all relevant evidence, I will issue an order. The order will be due to writing and all parties will be provided with a copy. So please ensure that we have your current address or email address. Additionally, you are advised that I do not have the authority to grant you a variance, permit, or special exception of any kind. My role is solely to determine whether a city code has been violated and under some circumstances to provide a reasonable time to correct the violation by whatever means are available to you. Please be advised that you may be subjected to a fine and a lien may be recorded on your property if the violation is not corrected by the compliance deadline if one is provided. If you wish to present any evidence today, please sign in at the podium before you speak, and it will be necessary that you swear or affirm to tell the truth. Therefore, at this time, I will swear in any witnesses. Anyone wishing to speak today, please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. So sworn. Do we have any changes to today's agenda?
Good morning, Madam Special Magistrate. Pete Dorr, Code Enforcement Manager for the City of St. Pete Beach. Case number 2025-0504, which is the lien reduction case on page number 4, 7A, is continued to December 6th.
Okay.
I'm sorry, December 8th.
December 8th. Would you like an order of continuance on that?
Yes, please, ma'am.
Okay, that one will be considered to the December 8th hearing. Any other changes to the agenda?
No, ma'am.
Okay. In that case, we'll move on to agenda item 3A, case number 202500 Beach versus Annie Nguyen and Jimmy Trong.
Good morning, Special Magistrate. Ayaka Rakhtashel, representing the City of St. Pete Beach. This is a continued case number 20250069 at the property address of 20555 Fifth Avenue. Your order back on August 18th gave him a 30-day extension to come into compliance, to seek a permit for the disrepair of their structure and the overgrown property. Upon inspection on October 3rd, last Friday, there was, the frontage of the property does look like it's tidied up. However, the rear is still has a lot of debris, and definitely the structure has no repair done. There's no permit in the system either. Could I have the overhead, please? So this is some of the debris on the side of the property. The structure in the rear. I don't know if you can see that the total, the roof in the back is totally collapsed in. Sandbags in the window. Missing. There's the roof completely collapsed through.
You said that's in the rear of the yard?
Yes.
in the rear of the home?
Well, you can see it from the front as well, but the windows view it better from the back.
Okay, but you were able to view this from the front of the property?
Yes.
Did you receive the property owner's consent to go into the rear of the property to take these
The
photos?
gate was open on the side where you can see the debris. It's been damaged and collapsed, and it's wide open.
And my question to you still remains, did you receive their consent of the property owner and to be able to go into the rear of the
The owner lives in
property?
California, so.
So the answer to that question is no.
No,
You did not have consent of the property owner to enter into the rear of the property.
no,
But your testimony is you can see the collapse of the roof from the
Absolutely.
front of the property.
absolutely.
Okay.
Front there.
Just for purposes of the record, I am not going to be considering any evidence that was taken from the rear of the property, as there was no consent given by the property owner in order to enter into the property. But I will accept the testimony that you could see that from the front of the property, and then the condition of the property from the front of the property for those photographs that were taken.
Right, so like I said, the landscape in the front appears to be tidied up. However, the structure is still in disrepair, and there's no permits in the system.
Okay, and have you had any contact with the property owners?
As of last month, when they asked for the 30-day extension. That
But
was
after
the
that,
only.
nothing?
No, nothing.
Okay, and you said that there has been no permit that's been applied
No.
for? Okay,
There's been no permit.
all right. Anything else?
No, so we'd be asking for fines from the date of your order to come to compliance. That was given of September 18th, so fines beginning September 19th, plus administrative costs.
And what is the amount of the admin costs?
$330.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Anyone here on behalf of the property owner? Ms. Nguyen or Mr. Trong? Anyone here on behalf of 20555 55th Avenue in St. Pete Beach? No one? Okay. All right, based on the evidence from the front of the property and my order that was dated August 25th, 2025, I am going to find that the property is still in violation of the stated code sections. I am going to issue a fine in the amount of $250 a day from September 19th until the property comes into compliance. It is the responsibility of the property owner to notify the city when the property comes into compliance. I will also award the $330 in reasonable administrative costs and the costs to record the order if any are necessary. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 3B. Case number 2025046, City of St. Pete Beach versus Marilyn Reimar.
Correct Shell, representing Code Enforcement, City of St. Pete Beach. Case 2025046, Rimar at 5404 Pally Way. Upon inspection on October 3rd, they have acquired a permit for the repairs that they were seeking and erected a huge construction fence around the property. So I was only able to see between the gaps that the landscape has been trimmed back, I guess, in preparation for their construction. So that's all been trimmed back. So we'd only be seeking no fines because it is come into compliance, and only administrative costs of $330.
Okay. Anyone here on behalf of the property owner? Ms. Marilyn Reimar, anyone on behalf of Ms. Reimar? 5404 Pally Way. Okay, seeing no one. I will find that the property has come into compliance and is in compliance with my previous order. I am not going to assess any fines. I will assess the $330 in reasonable administrative costs of the city. Moving on to agenda item 3C, case number 2025-0394, City of St. Pete Beach versus Martin Mara.
So Ayaka Rakdashel, representing the City of St. Pete Beach. case 2025039 Mara at 6802 Gulf Winds. All that these people had to do was remove the debris that was, and you gave them until September 23rd to do so. And then upon inspection on October 3rd, the debris was still visible from the front. There's the huge pile in the back. Also the debris right there. So the city will be asking for $250 a day fines as of September 24th, plus $330 in administrative costs.
Anyone here on behalf of Mr. Mara, Martin Mara? Anyone here on behalf of Mr. Mara, 6802 Gulf Winds Drive? Have you had any discussions with the property owner at all?
And with the property owner. There's
Okay.
been nothing, no contact.
Okay, I am going to find that the property still remains not compliant with both the city code sections and my previous order. I will assess $250 a day starting on 9/24/2025 until the property comes into compliance. It is the property owner's responsibility to notify the city when the property comes into compliance. I will assess the $330 in reasonable administrative costs of the city, as well as any recording costs if a lien recording is necessary. Moving on to agenda item 3.
Madam Special Magistrate?
Yes.
Sorry for the interruption. Could you include in that order that they notify code enforcement specifically as well, please?
Every single one of my orders says it's their responsibility to notify code enforcement for inspection.
Thank
So
you.
I will make sure that that's
It
included.
says the city, I think.
Okay, I can put specifically the code enforcement department,
ma'am.
that's fine, yes. And I can change all the orders to reflect code enforcement if that's what the city prefers, okay. Okay, moving on to agenda item 3D, case number 2024-0193, City of St. Pete Beach versus Brightwater Beach Condo Association.
Ayaka Ruckshell, representing the City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement, code case 2024093, Brightwater Beach Condo. This is quite a simple one. All is needed was to obtain a permit for the fence erected around the dumpster enclosure. They had originally erected a fence during the previous hurricanes to the two that we suffered from. That fence got destroyed. They replaced the fence again. And then the 2 hurricanes struck, and they've now replaced the fence for a 3rd time. So
And that's with the vinyl fence, right?
yes,
Yeah.
vinyl fence right here. And there's no permit in the system as of 10/3.
Okay, so they've failed to apply for a permit at all?
Yes. And your orders had no date to comply with, so if we could ask for fines from the date from the special magistrate date, whenever you can get the order out, plus administrative costs.
I have,
I don't think,
that they were supposed to comply in the final administrative order by Monday, September 15th, 2025.
September 15th.
Yeah, they had 60 days from the date of this order or by Monday, September 15th.
Okay.
Secure after the fact permits for the garbage enclosure and the fence.
So September 16th then.
Okay. Okay, anyone here on behalf of Brightwater Beach Condo Association? Anyone here on behalf of Brightwater Beach Condo Association located on 55th Avenue? Have you had any discussions with the property owner, the condo board?
Nope, there's been no discussion, no reach out, no contact.
Okay, great. And I recall speaking, the property manager and the contractor, I believe, were here last time when
So
I gave
they're-
my order. Okay. All right, I am going to find that the property is not in compliance with the stated code sections nor my previous administrative order. I am going to assess a fine of $250 a day from September 16th, 2025 until the property comes into compliance. It is the property owner's responsibility to notify code enforcement when the property comes into compliance. I am going to assess the reasonable administrative cost of the city, which I believe you said $330.
Yes,
$330, as well as any cost to record any necessary orders to effect a lien on the property.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to case number 3E, case number 202502220, City of St. Pete Beach versus Mr. Starkus.
Good morning, Madam Magistrate. Steve Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. Case number 202502220. This is a status hearing for permits for repairs to the structure. There's no permit application's been made. It was a 60-day extension you gave the property owner. There's no permit application, no permit's been issued. So we're asking for fines to begin on 9/16, $250 a day plus the $330 administrative costs and recording fees.
Have you had any conversations with Mr. Starkus at all?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, anyone here on behalf of Mr. Starkus, or is Mr. Starkus here?
So, yes, so that my house, it's really huge and it was damaged completely, roof, siding, water came through all walls and windows, doors, so there is no water, AC is not working, mold everywhere, and last time when I was here, so I explained that I'm working with insurance, trying to finalize with them, but they're not cooperating practically. Last time when I called them 10 days ago, so before they already had some kind of adjuster who's gonna look into the case. I called many times. He said he's gonna look later. Now last conversation was that they removed that adjuster. Now in 2 months they're gonna have another one. They said like that. So it looks like they just hiding from responsibility. And last time when I was here, so how I remember, we extended time for me to have
For the 60 days,
to
right.
deal with insurance, and we agreed that I will come after that time and we will see how insurance is doing. So situation is like that. They are not cooperating, and so I don't know if it is possible somehow to, I don't know, give them notice or something, or you can't do that.
So I will tell you that I don't have the power to compel your insurance company to do anything. I wish that I did, because I would. But my order did say that I would give you 60 days to work towards trying to come into compliance, and it sounds like you are trying to work with the insurance company. As you stand here today, you said the insurance company is assigning a new adjuster to this. Do you have any idea how long it's going to be until they make some sort of determination? Because obviously we're coming up on over about a year since the last 2 hurricanes.
I know, and
Yeah.
I have no answer, because last conversation 10 days ago, they said in about 2 months they're gonna have another adjuster again, but it doesn't look serious, because they had adjuster already. I asked why you removed him. They said, oh, every time we changing, something comes up, something comes out, and so
Okay.
I do not understand how they are operating, and
Well, and you kind of are in between a rock and a hard place, because I understand that you're waiting on the insurance. However, the property remains in a state of disrepair. I know you're not happy about it, but also it's not in compliance with the city's code. So my concern is if I give you another 60 days, and that's just when they assign another adjuster, the property is going to continue to remain in the status it is. You're not happy about that. The city's not happy about that. The only solution I have two options at this point. I can continue it again to see about the adjuster being assigned, and you can make greater efforts, and I can't tell you what to do, but you know, reaching out to an attorney, reaching out to a public adjuster, these are some of the things I understand other citizens in different communities are doing. I can't tell you to do those things. My concern is if I push it out another 60 days, we'll be back here in 60 days, you'll be telling me the same thing. But I also don't want to necessarily tag you with the $250 a day additional cost when you are trying to make efforts to get the property into compliance. Can you tell me, is there anything that you can do without the insurance to bring the property into compliance?
I can. There is, you know, I have mortgage on it. It's huge mortgage, but now to rebuild that house, to do all those remodelings, probably it costs more than build new one. So is there any way just to demo that house for now? And
So that's something that would, I will tell you, demoing it would certainly bring you into compliance with the code enforcement case. However, you got to go through the building department to see what that plan looks like and if that's something that you want to do. So if that is an option for you, then what I might say is let's continue this for another 60 days. When is the, December 6th is the next, it would be the,
Madam Magistrate?
yes.
December 8th.
Okay. Can we do it till next month and just see where we're at status-wise? Maybe we'll get something different and then instead of taking it 60 days?
The only reason I'm suggesting 60 days is because that will give Mr. Starkus enough time to either apply for a demo permit, talk to contractors, or work it out with his insurance company.
I'm trying to give him options. I don't want him to go to the extreme.
I just don't want to be here in 30 days and then we're having this conversation and we're pushing it out again. But, I mean, it's,
Like from my side, like question is, can I do that demo because having mortgage on it? I mean, mortgage company will. They
yeah, you'll have to talk to your mortgage company about that too, right? Because I don't have that information and I can't advise the city, but I suggest that they probably don't want to tell you that information either because they may not have that.
I mean, it is legal if I will get a permit and do demo of the house.
So,
Like you have that like 2.5 million mortgage on it, so.
so then why don't we do this then? I can certainly accommodate both. What we'll do is we'll continue this until the November 10th code enforcement hearing. That will give you time to reach out to your mortgage company to find out if you can, with their permission, demo the property. You can look at contractors to see if that's feasible and then get with the city on what the demo permit looks like. It'll also give you a little time to reach out to your insurance company to maybe light a fire underneath them or, find an attorney or something to get them to get moving.
Okay.
So we will continue this case until November 10th at 10 a.m. And then I'm going to put the same thing in this order as I did the last one, which is going to be just that you're continuing to work good faith efforts to bring the property into compliance.
Okay.
And then I will get that order to you. So November 10th at 10 a.m.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Good luck to you. All right, moving on to agenda item 3F, case number 2025-0185, City of St. Pete Beach versus Robert Rollman.
Good morning, Madam Magistrate. Steve Rivera again, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This was a status hearing to bring the property into compliance at 401 Gulf Way. The property is compliant with the order. I do have some photos here. So if you remember from the PowerPoint, these windows were all boarded up. It's got the hole in the wall covered for the time being. Door's been repaired. The fence was removed. Sidewalk's been cleaned off. So the property is in compliance. The city's not asking for any fines. We're just asking for the $330 administrative cost, and that'd be it.
Okay. Is Mr. Ruhlman here or anyone here on behalf of Mr. Ruhlman? You'll please state your name for the record. State.
No, it's fine. Once again, I appreciate the cooperation that I have gotten from code enforcement. They've worked with us. I've had some medical issues, and they've been very helpful. So I would like to compliment them. I don't know if they get many of them.
I don't believe that they do, so I'm sure that they appreciate that.
They've been very, very helpful.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Ruhlman. And then if there's nothing else from the city, I will find that the property is in compliance with the stated code sections in my order. I am not going to assess any fines. I will assess the $330 in administrative costs of the city.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 3G, case number 2025-0312, City of St. Pete Beach versus SunGold LLC. Are we taking 3G, H, and I together?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I also will be taking case number 2025-0417 and 2025-0418.
So this was this is a status hearing to comply with the order to clean the property up. The property is compliant. Some pictures here. Grass has been cut. The repair to the fence post that was falling over. See, all the vegetation's been cut back from the sidewalk. And then this is another spot in the fence that was repaired. The city's not seeking any fines, just the $330 administrative costs.
Are you seeking the $330 on each of the three cases, or a single $330 for the composite three
I
cases?
would go for all three cases. It's three separate cases. Well, no, it was presented as one case.
It was
so,
presented
Yeah,
as-
let's do it as one.
So $330 for the three cases?
Total, correct.
Okay. Is anyone here on behalf of SunGold LLC? I don't see Mr. LaRoe in the
I
audience.
spoke to him via email this morning. He was not going to be able to make it. I
Okay.
told him what I was seeking, no fines, just the administrative costs.
And he was okay with that, okay.
As far, I haven't checked the email
Right.
since, but yes.
Okay, great. Then I will find that the property is in compliance for all three code cases. I am not going to assess any fines. I will assess a single amount of $330 for administrative costs, which will be for all three cases. As we've consolidated them, there will be a single order on that, and I will send a copy of that to Mr. LaRoe. Okay, moving on to agenda item 3J, 2025-0420, City of St. Pete Beach versus Kenneth Hutman.
Morning, Madam Magistrate. Steve Rivera, again, on behalf of the City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This was a status hearing for 2893 West Vina Del Mar. The grass was cut. You can see, overhead please. The grass was cut. There's still some damage to the fence wall. Another section. There's a picture showing the vegetation cut. Sections of fence wall falling over. I'm sorry, not the fence wall, the retaining wall. So the vegetation violations have all been addressed. The only thing that wasn't addressed was the retaining wall. So the city is asking for $250 a day starting 9/17, day after the compliance date in the order, plus the $330 administrative costs.
Okay. Is Mr. Hutman here, or anyone here on behalf of Mr. Hutman? Anyone here on behalf of 2893 West Vina Del Mar Boulevard? Have you had any conversations with Mr. Hutman?
No, I spoke to his wife once. There was some confusion between this property and a couple other properties they had in the city. She said she'd get back to me with a game plan, and I never heard back.
Okay. Okay, I am going to find that the property is still in violation of of the stated code sections and my order for failure to retain the retaining wall. I am going to issue $250 a day fine beginning on September 17th, 2025.
I'm sorry. 9/3. Your order was 9/2. I was looking at the wrong date.
Okay.
My apologies.
Then $250 a day beginning on 9/3, 2025, and running until the property comes into compliance. The respondent is responsible for notifying city's code enforcement when the property comes into compliance. I will assess the $330 in reasonable administrative fines, as well as any recording costs associated with recording a lien on this property. Moving on to agenda item 3K, case number 2025-0341, City of St. Pete Beach versus Scott Shaming and Lisa Shamming.
Steve Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This was a status hearing for a driveway permit. They were given 4 weeks to apply for the driveway permit, secure a permit. There is no permit application has been made. I did speak to the property owner, I don't know the exact day, but it was last week. He called to see if the contractor had applied. I just told him that there was no application made. Said he was going to make effort to try to get it, and I haven't heard from him since.
Okay, and I think the last time he was here, he was saying that they put mulch in.
Yes, so they
kind of-
pulled up the concrete.
Right.
I don't know what the game plan was with it. It wasn't a violation until they started to park on it,
Right,
and then it became a violation.
okay. And so as of today, you haven't heard back from the property owner with regard to
Last week,
contractor?
yeah, last week was last conversation, and as of this morning, there was no permit application or a permit in the system for a driveway.
Okay. And he had said that he would have that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, that it would be installed, if I
Yeah,
recall his testimony correctly.
The order, I believe, said 4 weeks to obtain the permit,
Right,
bringing us to 9/16, so
yeah,
we're asking 9/17, $250 a day plus admin.
okay. All right, is Mr. Shamming here, or anyone here on behalf of Mr. Shamming? I don't see him here. Anyone here on behalf of 2817 Paso Grill Way? Okay, I am going to find that the property is in violation of stated code sections in my previous order. I am going to issue a fine of $250 a day beginning on September 17th, 2025, running until the property comes into compliance. The property owner is responsible for notifying code enforcement when the property comes into compliance. I am also going to assess the 330 days in reasonable administrative costs of the city and any recording fees that are necessary to effect a lien on this property.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 3L, case number 2025-0299, City of St. Pete Beach versus Babette Simon.
Thank you, Madam Magistrate. Steve Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. Case number 2025-0299. Respondent is Babette Simon. Violation address is 305 Gulf Way. Violation description, the property is in violation of section 98-123.1, permits required, of the Code of Ordinance of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary, initial inspection was 5/15/2025. Notice of violation dated and mailed certified 5/23/2025. Notice of violation compliance date was 6/16/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted to the property on 7/30/2025. The following is a true and accurate representation of what I've witnessed. This is the affidavit of posting at 305 Gulf Way. It's a Google image of what the previous garage doors look like. If you see the arrows I've pointed up there, the previous garage doors had door handles on them. This picture shows the doors are different color, the door handles aren't there. Pattern on the door is actually different. It's a little bit closer of a shot. There was a permit that was opened for AC repair. It was abandoned at some point. So we sent them notice for them requesting that they reinstate the permit. Corrective action, property must obtain an after-the-fact permit for the garage doors and reinstate the AC permit. Property is compliant. They did obtain their permit for the garage doors and AC repair. Recommended fine is $330 administrative cost only, and any recording fees that may be associated with this property. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay, so they initially had received, so they didn't comply by the time of the initial of the notice of violation, which would have been June 16th for that. And then we continued it last time because I believe Mr. Simmons usually comes with Ms. Simon.
They were sick.
Right.
As far as I know, they weren't well, couldn't make it. So we continue. So this is a continued case just being presented for the first time today.
Right, okay. And so they didn't comply with the initial notice of violation, but they did comply prior to the case being presented to the
Yes,
magistrate?
ma'am.
Okay. Okay, is there anyone here on behalf of Ms. Simon? Did you talk to Ms. Simon or Mr. Simmons at all?
Mr. Simmons, I believe, had sent in an email, stating that they had gotten a permit and didn't feel like he should, was
Needed to
questioning
come.
why he had to come in.
Okay,
By this point, though, it was already on the agenda, so we couldn't take it off.
right,
But they did obtain the permit, and as far as the AC permit goes, the initial one, that should have automatically been extended with the executive order after the storms.
Right.
I didn't catch that until after it was presented as evidence for the hearing.
Okay,
But they do have an AC permit, and they do have the garage door permits.
okay, perfect. All right, well then I am going to find that the property is in compliance with the stated code sections. I am not going to associate any type of fines. I will assess the $330 in reasonable administrative costs of the city. Okay, moving on to our new cases. 4A, case number 2025-0002, City of St. Pete Beach versus Marilyn Nolan Revocable Living Trust, and Marilyn Nolan as the trustee.
Steve Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This is case number 2025-0002. Respondents Marilyn L. Nolan Revocable Trust, Marilyn L. Nolan Trustee. Violation address is 103 First Avenue. Violation description, the property is in violation of 4633-1, enumeration, 9866A, B, 22A, B, 1, and 3, residential and commercial property maintenance of the Code of Ordinance of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary, initial inspection was 7/18/2025. Notice of violation dated 7/18/2025. Notice of violation compliance date was 8/9/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted to the property 8/19/2025. The following is a true and accurate representation of what I have witnessed. This is the affidavit of posting at 103 First Ave. This is pictures of the overgrown vegetation on the First Ave and Passive Grove corner. Picture of the overgrown vegetation in the alleyway. See overgrown grass and weeds on the property. It's a follow-up photo showing the sea grapes and palm fronds, or the palms taken over. Another follow-up photo. It's hard to see it, but that's actually a chair sitting in the grass there. It's kind of how tall it got. If you look to the, just to the top right. Corrective action, property must cut and maintain the grass and weeds and trim back the trees. This change, I didn't get a chance to update this. The property is compliant. So the city is not seeking any fines, just the $330 administrative cost. I do have photos to show that they are in compliance. These pictures were taken yesterday. So there's a picture of the back of the property. This is over in that general section here is where that chair was at. Another angle from the alleyway side there. And then there's a picture of the palms in the alleyway that's been cut back. So the property is compliant, and again, we're not seeking any fines, just the administrative costs.
Okay, thank you. Is anyone here on behalf of the Marilyn Nolan Revocable Trust with Marilyn Nolan as trustee?
I spoke to her this morning. She
Okay.
was here. She had something that she had to take care of. I did tell her that we weren't because she's been working to try to get the property back into compliance.
Okay,
So I did speak with her and told her that we were not going to be seeking any fines, just the administrative costs, and she understood.
okay, perfect. All right, then I am going to find that the property is in compliance with the stated code sections. I'm not going to assess any fines. I will assess the $330 in reasonable administrative costs of the city.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 4B, case number 2025-0538, City of St. Pete Beach versus Passive Grove Beach Condo Phase 1 Association, Inc.
Stephen Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This is case number 2025-0538. Respondent is Passive Grove Beach Condo Phase 1 Association Incorporated. Violation address is 709 Gulf Way. The property is in violation of Section 44.5A1, 2, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 6 and 7, standards for existing beachfront lighting of the Code of Ordinance of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary, initial inspection was 8/3/2025. Notice of violation dated and mailed certified 8/5/2025. Notice of violation compliance date 8/12/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted to the property 8/25/2025. Following is a true and accurate representation of what I have witnessed. This is the affidavit of posting at 709 Gulf Way. Picture's a little blurry, but you can see the lights, the TVs that are on, and the lights on the building. Kind of circled it here, exactly what I'm looking at. So there's some wall lighting and the TVs and some interior lighting there that's showing through. This is on August 17th. This is a follow-up inspection. The TVs were still lit. There's still some light bleeding through from the inside. Corrective action. Property must turn off, shield, or replace the light bulbs to be Turtle Light compliant, and turn off or shield the televisions between the dates of May 1st through October 31st. Property is not compliant. Recommended fine is $250 a day, starting 10/11/2025, until compliant, plus $330 for administrative costs and any lien recording fees that may be associated with this case. And this concludes my presentation. I do have, I know I added it in there. So they have addressed some of the lighting, but there's still lights from the interior that are bleeding through. But the TVs were my last inspection, which was on Monday, I believe it was. Last Tuesday. I'm trying to find a photo here. It's stuck in with something else. But it does show that they were, the outside lighting had been addressed. It was just interior lighting that was bleeding through the windows there. And I apologize. I don't have that photo with me.
Okay, and then my question is, the interior lighting, that's still the issue. Since the turtle lighting requirements only exist until October 31st, November 1st, can they have the internal lights bleeding through until May of next year?
So from October 31st till May 1st, yes.
They can.
The TVs can be
It's
back
no longer
on.
turtle season.
We're no longer in turtle season at that point. I know it's kind of late in the season, but we still have a couple of nests on the beach currently.
Understood.
I think I saw 2, maybe 3 when I was working yesterday, so
Okay.
there's still that
I'm trying to figure out dates for purposes of my order, because
So, we did the compliance date by this Saturday. I don't know if that makes a difference. You'll try to give them time to comply between now and then. They did show some progress, so hopefully maybe we can get 5 days for them to,
like tint their windows or
yeah, or even
dimmers
put
or-
some kind of covering over it. I mean, if they put some kind of, paper or banner or something
Yeah.
just to block it. There's 2 windows that the light was, now that all the outside violations have been addressed, it's
Just that
showing
interior
through
light.
that much stronger, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Rivera. Anyone here on behalf of the property owner, Paso Girl Beach Condo Phase 1 Association, Inc.? Anyone here on behalf of Paso Girl Beach Condo Association or Phase 1 Association, Inc., 709 Gulf Way? Mr. Rivera, did you have an opportunity to speak to the property owner at all, or any representative of the property owner?
I know our admin had spoken to someone. They said they were going to address the lights. I know they were aware. I did speak to, no, it wasn't that property. No, so I didn't personally speak to anyone. I know there was correspondence, text messages, emails, and clearly they addressed the TVs and they addressed the light bulbs. Looked like they were changed with turtle-friendly lighting.
Okay.
So as far as the outside seating area, I don't see my last inspection does not show a violation.
Okay. I am going to find that the property is in violation of the stated code section specific to the interior light bleeding out. I am going to allow 14 days from the date of my order, which will still be before October 31st, for the property to come into compliance. And then we will be back here at the November code hearing, which I believe is scheduled for
November 10th?
November 10th, for a status check to determine if they are in compliance by the 14th of 14 days, and if not, then we'll look at assessing any codes or fines at that time.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 4C, case number 2025-0489, City of St. Pete Beach versus Mark Colburn and Deborah Colburn.
Thank you, Madam Magistrate. Stephen Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. Case number 2025-0489. Respondents are Mark Colburn and Deborah Colburn. Violation address is 1803 Pasagrove Way. Violation description: the property is in violation of Section 9866A, B, 5, and E, residential and commercial property maintenance of the Code of Ordinance of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary: initial inspection was 7/21/2025. Notice of violation dated and mailed certified on 7/22/2025. Notice of violation compliance date was 8/1/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted to the property 8/28/2025. The following is a true and accurate representation of what I witnessed. This is the affidavit of posting at 1803 Pasagrove Way. This is a picture of the boarded-up garage door. It's a picture of the outdoor storage. Another photo here, follow-up photo of the boarded-up garage door. Same with the outdoor storage. This was on the day of posting. It looks like the cover had blown off of the wood that's there. Corrective action: property must remove the boards over the garage and remove the material stored in public view. Property is not compliant. Recommended fine is $250 a day, beginning 10/11/2025, plus $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated. I do have some follow-up photos. The outdoor storage has been addressed, so it's no longer a violation. The overhead, please. So this is where those boards were stored at. However, the garage door is still boarded up. And this was as of yesterday. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Is anyone here on behalf of Mark Colburn or Deborah Colburn? Or, okay, if you could please come up and state your name for the record.
Mark Colburn.
Deborah Colburn?
Okay.
Basically, we received mail through a P.O. box in St. Pete Beach, and, you know, that was closed for a long time because of the hurricane. So then they had the temporary my temporary P.O. box was across the way in St. Pete, and that closed at 5. So I could never get there before 5 to get my mail. So I didn't even get the notice till after it was already almost expired, you know, as far as the time that he had allowed me. And so the minute I got the notice, there was one of the things was no street numbers, which I went ahead and I did that almost the next day after I got the notice. I put the street numbers on. Even though we haven't had street numbers for 28 years, you know, I guess it was an emergency, so I put them on that, you know, the next day. And then as far as the wood storage, that wood came out of the garage, and the garage was totally flooded, you know, with like 2 feet of water. So some people from the church came and helped me get that out, and we put it there because it was a hard surface, and it was good lumber. I didn't want to have the lumber get ruined. So I put it in the most logical place, which was on the corner of my driveway, and, you know, covered up with some tarps. And I had every intention of moving it, but my garage was still in disrepair, and I wanted to clean out the garage real well before I put it back in there. The only other alternative would have been to place it on the grass in the backyard, which would kill the grass and probably ruin the lumber. So I put it there. It was way over on the corner, and it was covered up. But anyway, and it's heavy. So, I mean, I did start to move it. In fact, when he posted his violation on the, when he stapled that on the door, I'd already put the numbers on, and I'd already started moving that wood. But, some of that wood is very heavy, but my wife and I finally, we did move it to the back. But as far as, okay, now that, so, as far as the garage door goes, that was totally caved in by the hurricane and the floodwater. And we didn't, okay, so I did board that up, and I thought it was very tastefully done. I mean, obviously, it's not what we would want there, but for the time being, I boarded it up just to secure the property. And since then, we had applied for the Elevate the Home program, and we were waiting to see if we were going to be accepted for that. And if we would have put a new garage door on, they just would have had to demolish the new garage door if we were going to elevate the home. So we, and that took months to find out. I mean, but anyway, so that was the reason we didn't put a new garage door on. And also, if we weren't going to be accepted for the Elevate the Home program, we were thinking about remodeling the house and waiting on the garage door till we'd painted and done certain things, so the garage door wouldn't be ruined by the remodeling process. So we had every intention of putting a new garage door on one way or another, but it just didn't fit into the schedule as far as when we could do it. Now, I did come in here after I got the notification. Okay, when you have a P.O. box, they just leave a slip that you have to then go to the post office counter and get your certified letter. So when I was able to get that after 5, of course the post office was closed, so I didn't get a chance to get in there and get the certified letter in a timely fashion. So anyway, we found out recently that we haven't been accepted on the Elevate the Home program. That was kind of ambiguous at first, and we didn't realize, but we weren't. So we were faced with either going ahead with the remodeling plans, or we were even thinking about tearing down the house and building new. In either case, it would have been foolish to put a new garage door on. So I offered to paint it, to put some trim on it to make it look nice. And, but anyway, we did since get a permit to put a garage door on, and we were going to do that next week. What's that?
Your Honor, here's the application, or a screenshot of the application for the Elevate Florida. And here is the application, page 1. And page 2. email with code enforcement that was sent on the 18th, and a response from Mr. Rivera on the 19th, where kind of outlined what my husband just said about the problems with the Elevate Florida and trying to figure out what we were going to do, and asking to delay, cancel this hearing until we had a little clarity on what was going on with the Elevate Florida program and which way we were going to proceed. And he said, unfortunately, we would have to attend the hearing. So, without any leeway being given for this hearing, we've contracted for a new garage door, and the permit's applied for on the 26th, I believe, and was
given.
issued on the 1st.
Okay, and
If you want, I mean, I did write an email to Jennifer, kind of explaining all this, and I can read that for you if you want me.
if you want to submit that into the record, you're welcome to do so. It's your evidence to submit.
Okay. Okay.
Anything else?
This is what I sent to Jennifer. I said, thank you for meeting with me today. What? What's that?
Rather than reading through the whole thing, you want us to just put it into evidence?
You can put it under, yeah, you can put it into evidence instead of reading it. And then we would just need copies of those to go to the clerk, so we
Well,
have that for the
I just
record.
wanted
Sure.
to say that I was not taking this lightly, and
Understood.
I did try in every way possible to get it rectified, but
And, Your Honor, the other problem that we had that was on, which was, I think, the day before this all started with the inspections, was on the 20th of July, my husband was traveling at 60 miles an hour on I-4 and was actually rear-ended while he was going 60 miles an hour by another truck. So with, the doctors and tests and therapies and all of that, that's kind of put a little...
see, I had all this written out in a letter, and I was going to hand deliver it to code enforcement, but that happened to be during the time when the city hall was closed because of the roof, I guess.
Right.
Okay, they told me that code enforcement was over in the library. So I went over to the library, and there was a little room set up for city business, but they said code enforcement was not here. So then they said they think it was over in the fire station. So I went over to the fire station.
You got a nice little tour of the city, huh?
I mean, this is all the effort I went through to try to not avoid this. And then I went to the fire station, and I walked up the stairs, and it was locked, of course. And I rang the bell, and nobody came. So then I made an appointment with Jennifer. I stopped in and talked to Jennifer, and I wrote this letter, and it basically explains everything that we've said.
Okay.
And this was done way, way before. I mean, this was all done within a few days after I got the notification.
So let me ask you on the timeline. So the hurricanes happened last year, September, October. And then and I understand the confusion afterwards with the Elevate Florida program being whatever it was. You guys applied for Elevate Florida in April. And then you just recently heard back within the last week or so. Is that?
I think.
Well, we haven't gotten any kind of a notification, but if you go on the website,
It'll
it says
tell you.
application withdrawal, which
we
I'm
weren't clear on that,
assuming,
whether that meant that we weren't accepted.
because we didn't withdraw the application or
It
anything.
was kind of ambiguous, but we.
Did you clear that up with FDM that it was,
Yeah, we
in
found
fact?
out that
Okay.
we're not accepted.
Okay. And when did that occur? That was within
A week or two.
a week or
Last couple
so?
weeks, yeah.
Okay. And so your plans for remodeling or demolishing, you are still entertaining those plans, I'm assuming, as of right now?
Yes, I'm talking to an architect,
Okay.
and I have an emotional attachment to the house. I'd like to fix it, but like the other gentleman earlier said, sometimes.
At
it's
some
tough to
point.
Fix it and just,
Yeah.
but we went ahead and bit the bullet, and we're getting a new garage.
Just a new, okay.
Satisfied.
Okay, I was trying to see how far you were into those plans, because if you were pretty far into them, then maybe I could, help you. I mean,
Yeah, well, I've already given.
try and figure out that, but,
Deposit on the garage door, so
Okay.
we're gonna
Okay.
do that next week.
okay. Anything else that you would like me to know before I make my ruling? All right, well, I am going to find that you are in violation of the stated code section just as it applies to the sound working condition and good repair of the exterior garage door. However, I am going to, how long will it take your contractor? He's got the permit. How long will it take him to install the garage door?
Probably tomorrow or Wednesday.
Yeah, it depends on what their scheduling is, but since we have the permit in hand, it's just whenever they can get out, when we're able to be there. So it should be this week, next week at the
It'll be on
latest, I would
this-
think.
It'll be.
Okay, so I will then allow in my order 14 days. That'll give you a little bit of a cushion in case something comes up in order to have the garage door installed and come into compliance with the city's code. I am going to set a status hearing for the November code hearing. If everything is well and good, you guys won't need to come back. If for some reason the contractor couldn't make it out there, something happens, you can come back and just let me know that, and we can talk about if we need to continue it to another date or what's going to happen. But you will get a copy of my order. Just make sure I've got maybe an email address might be easier to send it to if you guys are if you have the PO box that way. I make sure you get a copy of the order for your records.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Do you
So
have
if
any
we get the
questions?
garage door installed and inspected, do we
So-
need to come back for the status hearing, or what do we?
I mean, that would be up to you. Usually when it's a status hearing, the respondents don't usually need to show up as long as you've communicated with Mr. Rivera and understand, if they're asking for administrative costs. If you have a problem with the administrative costs and you want to come argue that in front of me, you can. Otherwise, if you accept whatever the city is, saying just the cost, then you don't have to come.
Well, pardon me, Your Honor, but in my letter, I did ask that we be excused from this proceeding because we basically had everything all taken care of, like a month ago. So, I mean, I would move that the administrative costs be forgiven in this case, but it's certainly.
And unfortunately, the way that the statute works, I can't make that call at this hearing. This is just to figure out if there is a code violation and then the imposition. But I will note that for the future, that you have an objection to the administrative costs. And then if we have to come back next week or next month,
Okay.
next week,
Thank
then we can, I will take that in consideration if you're not otherwise in attendance.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, thank
We
you
just
both
need
very
to-
much.
Your Honor, we just need to update,
Code enforcement. So
Code
let Mr. Rivera know when the garage door is installed and inspected, and then that way he'll know that you guys have come into compliance.
okay.
My suggestion would be let him know before the 14 days run out on my order. That way you can comply with the
Is it
order.
okay to notify just the code office? Okay.
Okay.
And like I said, it'll be 14 days from my order. I'm hoping to get those out today. Might not be until tomorrow, but I will email it to you if you have your email address. Otherwise, I'll send it however the mailing is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then we can leave this for,
Yes, you can leave that with Jenny here, and she will take it for the record. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the next agenda item for D. That would be case number 20250530, City of St. Pete Beach versus Brandon Owens and Alexandra Owens.
Thank you, Madam Magistrate. Stephen Rivera again, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This is case number 20250530. The respondent is Brandon Owens and
Alexandra.
Yeah, I'm just all tongue-tied. Alexandra Owens. Violation address is 3972 Poinsettia Drive. Violation description: the property is in violation of Section 9866A, B, and 20, residential and commercial property maintenance, and 4633, 1A, and 3, enumeration of the Code of Ordinance of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary: initial inspection was 8/4/2025. Notice of violation dated 8/27/2025. Notice of violation compliance date was 9/4/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted to the property 9/18/2025. Following is a true and accurate representation of what I witnessed. This is the affidavit of posting at 3972 Poinsettia Drive. a picture of the overgrown lot. It's another picture here. Different angle. This is on the 26th, follow-up photo. Just a general height with the measuring tape there. Corrective action. Property must cut and maintain the grass and weeds regularly. Property is not compliant. Recommended fine is $250 a day beginning 10/11/2025, plus $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay. Anyone here for Mr. Brandon Owens or Ms. Alexandra Owens, or are Mr. Brandon Owens and Ms. Alexandra Owens here? Anyone here on behalf of the Owenses, 3972 Poinsettia Drive? Mr. Rivera, any contact with the property owners?
No, ma'am. We did courtesy notice. I've received several complaints for this property. There was 3 properties in violation. We sent courtesy notices. 2 of the properties went to notice of violation, and even with the posting, there's been no compliance.
If I may, Mr. Rivera, can I just have you confirm to you that you mail it via certified mail to the owner's address?
Yes,
on record?
ma'am. We mailed, matter of fact, the courtesy notice and notice of violation were both mailed certified.
Yeah, I see that here. Okay, thank you very much. All right, I will find that the property is in violation of the stated code sections. I am going to give 7 days from the date of my order for the property owner to come into compliance with the stated code section. If not, we will come back at the November hearing, and I will look at adjudicating fines and fees at that time.
Thank you.
Moving on to 4E, case number 20250356, City of St. Pete Beach versus Julia Baranakota. Baranakota. I'll get it eventually if I keep repeating it.
Ayaka Rakhtashel, representing the City of St. Pete Beach. This is case number 20250356, where the respondent is Juliet Barancato. I'm pronouncing it that way, I don't know. Violation address, 580th Avenue. Violation description, the property is in violation sections 46-33(1), A through C, and 3, enumeration. 9864A, general maintenance. 98-65(1), A through C, 3 and 4 of unsightly conditions, 98-66A, B, 2, A and B, 20, 22, A and B, 2, and 24, residential and commercial property maintenance of the Code of Ordinances of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary, the initial inspection was June 5th, 2025. The notice of violation was dated 6/11/2025, also sent by certified mail. Notice of violation compliance date 6/22/25, and the notice of hearing dated and posted on the property 9/22/2025. This is a true and accurate description of what I've witnessed. The affidavit of posting at 580th Avenue on September 22nd. So these are the pictures way back from June 5th showing the initial dead trees and overgrowth. From a distance, the debris, dead vegetation and overgrowth. A broken fence, the tree debris. The overgrowth and debris, June 5th. The home in disrepair with additional debris. Debris towards the back of the property. The tree debris still remain there as of September 15th. The structure is still in disrepair, September 15th. with the overgrowth. Broken fence, September 15th. And the debris pile towards the rear of the property on September 15th again. So the corrective action, the property must maintain overgrown landscape, remove vegetative debris, and apply for either a demo or hurricane repair permit for the structure and fence. The property is not compliant, and the recommended fine is $250 a day beginning October 9th, or the date of your order, plus $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. I have been in discussions with the property owner several times. She was lost in a sense of which direction to pursue to maintain her property. I have tried to give her a little bit of guidance, and I think she's reached to the point now where she has decided that she wishes to demolish the property, and she did provide me with one estimate on September 30th, and I believe that is the direction that she wants to pursue. And she is here today to just plead her case as well.
All right, thank you so much. All right, as Ms., I'm going to say it, Baranacoto? Barracato. Okay, would you like to come up and tell me what's going on? What your intentions are for the property? And I am so sorry I butchered your last name 4 different times.
Yeah, just very confused on which way to go with the property. It's been a nightmare, as it has for everybody.
Can
I'm
understand.
sorry, I still get emotional. It's,
Take your
my
time.
life has been here for over 50 years on the beach, so. I had looked into real quick my home, when I say Florida, and I've gotten information back from them, but the final answer, only 10,000 grant, and I'll probably have to raise it. Didn't realize it's substantial damage, so the demo does look like the only way I can go. I've gotten several estimates. The most reasonable and realistic is the one I just sent her. So I'm going to demo. I'll be getting that information together this week on a final answer and try and get the permit started. I know that's going to take time, but the house will be coming down.
Okay. And so since you're gathering that information this week, and I know it takes time to, you have an estimate, so have you engaged with the contractor already?
Yes, I just haven't given the final yes. And my kids are looking at all the information to help
Okay.
me with this, so.
Okay. So how about, do you believe that 30 days would be sufficient to apply for the permit?
Yes,
Okay.
to apply, okay.
To apply. I am not going to require you to get the permit within the 30 days. At this point, I
They
am
said it
going
might
to,
be longer. They
right,
already
ask you
talked
to
them.
apply for the permit in 30 days.
Okay.
The remainder of the property, I understand that you've cleaned up as much as you can.
Definitely the yard is clean. A lot of that stuff is gone. The fencing was actually my neighbor's, but that's another story. I'm not
Okay.
going to get into that.
And then the debris that was close to the house, has that been remedied as well? Or is that going to be part and parcel
That's going to be part of it.
of the demo
Yes, if
project?
that's okay, I'd like to make that part of it. Everything, the whole property is to be demolished. Everything, trees, I think everything.
Everything.
Resodded, I think that's, has to be done also.
That's something that you need to check with the city on to make
Okay.
sure that that is a requirement.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so then I will do this. I will allow well, does the city have anything in response?
No, she's
Okay.
pursuing,
A remedy,
So, yes.
right? Okay, so I will do 30 days from the date of my order to secure a permit. And then we will come back on the November hearing to make sure that that's been done. If for some reason there's extenuating circumstances, it hasn't happened, whatever, you can talk to me at that time and we can figure out a course forward. But if you comply and you secure a permit for demolition within the 30 days, then I will likely not need to see you back here at the November hearing.
If I've applied,
If
okay.
you've applied. Please make sure I have your email address or contact information on the sign-in sheet so I can send you my order.
Yes.
And then you will have a copy of that. And then
Okay.
work with the city just to make sure that, I can't help you on that, but the city can in the steps that you need to do to take forward to make sure. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, and I will get that order out, like I said, within the next couple of days here.
You've been here a long time, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and we are moving to agenda item 4F, which is case number 20250438. Presentación Ferranda.
Yes. Ayaka Rakdashel, representing the City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This is case number 20250438. Respondent is Presentation Ferranda. Violation address 536 80th Avenue. Violation description, the property is a violation of sections 22.12 G, tree removal permit required, 46-33-2 enumeration, 9864A general maintenance, 9865-1 A through C and 4 unsightly conditions, 98-66A B 22 AM B2 C 2 and 3 and 24 of residential and commercial property maintenance of the Code of Ordinances of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary. The initial inspection was July 15th, 2025. Notice of violation was dated and sent by certified mail on July 7th, 2025. Notice of violation compliance date was 7/20/2025, and the notice of hearing dated and posted on the property 9/22/2025. This is a true and accurate description of what I've witnessed. The affidavit of posting on September 22nd at the property address 536 80th Avenue. So the property has a large dead tree in the front of the property. And substantial construction debris. Looks like a bit of a fencing on the driveway there, and a little bit closer up you'll see more debris. This is from July 5th. There's some of the wood from the fence, I presume, on July 5th. The vehicles appeared to be registered, so that wasn't an issue, just a different angle of the overgrowth. These are pictures from September 15th, the updated pictures, so the debris still remains. And the large tree still there. September 15th. Debris outside the house. September 15th. Yard debris. 536 80th Avenue, 15th. The property must remove the dead tree and debris and apply for either a demo hurricane repair permit for the structure and fence. The property is not compliant. The recommended fine is $250 per day from your date of this order, plus $330 in administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. I did have some updated pictures from October 3rd. Overhead, please. So that's the exterior of the property. Some other debris on their driveway now. The tree has been removed. Oops. Still debris in the front yard. And on the side of the house. So the city would be asking for them to also apply for a post-tree removal permit, which was not obtained.
Okay. And the city's code requires a tree permit
To remove a
on
tree.
private property.
Yes.
Okay, somewhere in my brain, a statute came up a couple of years ago that says that cities cannot require tree permits in specific situations. Chloe, do you happen to know if the city's ordinance is in compliance with the state statute with regard to tree removal permits?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to look into that further. I can provide an answer for you in the form of a memo if you'd like.
Okay. Let's do that. Would 3 days be sufficient to get me that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to ask that the city provide me a memo whether or not their ordinance is compliant with the tree removal permitting statute, which has changed a couple of times over the last couple of years. And then I will issue my order based on that. But first, I would like to hear if the property owners here is Presentacion Ferranda here or anyone on behalf of Ms. Ferranda. Have you spoken with the property owners at all?
No, there's been no correspondence.
Okay. Okay, in that case, then I am going to reserve ruling on this until I receive the memo from the city. As soon as I do receive that, I will go ahead and issue my order and make sure all parties receive a copy of said order. All right. And moving on to agenda item 4G, case number 2025043, City of St. Pete Beach versus Raymond Canara and Esther Canara.
Iacca Shell representing the City of St. Pete Beach. This is case number 2025043. The respondent is Raymond and Esther Canara. Violation address 9145 Gulf Boulevard. Violation description, the property is in violation of sections 46-33, 1A through C. 3, enumeration, 98-65, 1A through C, 3 and 4 of unsightly conditions, 98-66, A, B, 20 and 22, A and B2, residential and commercial property maintenance of the Code of Ordinance of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary, the initial inspection, July 1st, 2025. Notice of violation was dated and also sent by certified mail on July 7th, 2025. Notice of violation compliance date, 7/20/2025. And notice of hearing dated and posted on the property September 22nd, 2025. This is a true and accurate description of what I witnessed. The affidavit of posting on September 22nd at 9145 Gulf Boulevard. So these are the pictures back from July 1st. There is an outdoor table there stored. It looks like a discarded table, wooden table on the side of the property there. Overgrowth on the side, in the front yard as well. This is towards the side of the property, July 1st. Overgrown vegetation in general. July 1st, overgrown again. Just a little close-up on September 15th. The wood table still remains outside. There was some yard improvements on September 15th. A little bit of a tidy up. The corrective action, the property must maintain the landscape and remove the exterior table debris. The property was not compliant. Recommended fine is $250 per day beginning from the date of your order, plus $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. I have been in communication and actually visited the property on October 3rd, and we saw Mr. Canara working on his property. So there he is, trying to tidy things up. The debris that he was cutting back. Quite a significant project. And he had removed the table at that point in time. As of this morning, he did send me further pictures of he had completed his work in progress. So, overhead, please. The table still gone. He's cleaned up all the debris that he caught. And there it is, there. So I would say that the property is compliant, and that I'd only be seeking administrative costs at this point of $330.
Okay, great, thank you. Is Raymond Canara or Esther Canara here?
I believe they are.
Mr. Canara, if you could come up, please just state your name for the record, and if you have anything further to add, please let me know.
Yeah, this morning I got an email that said that the property was compliant.
It is compliant.
Okay, because I just,
The PowerPoint presentation is submitted before the hearing, and so that wasn't updated. But yes, Ms. Rechteschel did say that your property is now in compliance.
now compliant.
They're not seeking any fines, but they are looking for the $330 in administrative costs for the code enforcement
Is there
prosecution.
any way that I could get some kind of relief from that $330?
You can just let me know what the basis of your requesting relief is, and I can certainly look at.
I really thought that any of the things that I didn't do in time to be summoned to this event were because I did not understand the tree that was apparently a big concern. I was hoping, it is still living, and I was hoping that it was going to come back, and I was trying to find out what I had to cut away and what I didn't have to cut away. So I thought I was doing a better job of complying, but I have nothing in my defense.
Okay.
$330 to find out. Thank you.
I can understand. Okay, I am going to find that the property was in violation of the stated code sections. I am going to find that the property was it was in violation of 4633 subsections 1 and 3 and 9865 subsection 4. And 9866, the entirety of those subsections. I'm not going to find that there were, the structure was partially destroyed or anything under 9865 that was cited. I am going to find that the property is in compliance, and I'm not going to assess the full $330. I will assess $150 of administrative costs of the city based on your testimony here today.
Thank you very much. Where do I pay?
I believe you can go see Ms. Jennifer over here. She can help you.
Okay, thank you.
And just understand, I will be submitting a written order to that effect, so you'll likely receive that in the mail unless you've otherwise provided your email address. So you will get an order that says that in it. It's not going to compel you to do anything, but it's just going to let you know what the resolution was.
Okay, so
You'll get
nobody
something
will-
in the mail, but you won't need to do anything with it. It'll come from my office, but you will receive it. I just want to make sure that you understand you're going to get an order that's going to say everything I just told you. And then you don't have to do anything with that, but I just wanted to let you know it's coming to you, so when you receive it, you remember I told you you would get an order and you don't have to worry about it.
Thank
Okay?
you.
You're welcome. Okay, moving on to 4H, case number 2025044, City of St. Pete Beach versus James Maroli and Aaron Maroli.
Ayaka Rechteschel, representing the City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This is case number 2025044. The respondents are James and Aaron Maroli. Violation address 601 77th Avenue. Violation description, the property is in violations of 98-64A, general maintenance, 98-66, A, B, 20, and 22, A and B2 of residential and commercial property maintenance, 98-72C, 1, and 2, vacant buildings, vacant structures, and vacant or unimproved lots of the Code of Ordinance of the City of St. Pete Beach. The case summary: the initial inspection was July 7th, 2025. Notice of violation was dated July 8th of 2025, also sent by certified mail on that date. Notice of violation compliance date 7/18/2025, and the notice of hearing dated posted on the property 9/15/2025. This is a true and accurate description of what I witnessed. This is the affidavit of posting on September 15th on the property at 601 77th Avenue. It is a vacant lot. So these initial pictures were taken on July of 2025, showing the overgrowth. The overgrowth even covering the fire hydrant, or you're growing up against it, different angles of the property. This is from September 13th, growing even more. From the back, September 13th. Overgrown vegetation. So the corrective action is the property must maintain the overgrown landscape. The property is not compliant. The recommended fine is $250 per day, beginning from the date of your order, plus $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. I do have updated pictures if you want to even see from October 3rd. There's been no change to the status. It is overgrown.
And any contact with the property owners? All right, is there anyone here on behalf of James or Aaron Maroli, or are James and Aaron Maroli in attendance today? Anyone here on behalf of 607 77th Avenue? Okay, I am going to find that the property is in violation of the stated code sections. I am going to allow for 7 days for the property to come into compliance, and if the property does not to compliance, we will meet again in the November code hearing to impose any fines or fees as required. All right, moving on to 4I, case number 2025046, City of St. Pete Beach versus Richard,
Schneckenberg.
my eyes are not working, Schnackenberg and Barbara Schnackenberg.
Yes. Ayaka Ruckdashell, representing the City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This is case 2025046. Richard and Barbara Schnackenberg are the respondents. Violation address 8040 Gulf Boulevard. Violation description, sections 46-33(1)A and 2 of enumeration, 98-66A, B, 20, and 22B2 of residential and commercial property maintenance of the Code of Ordinance of the City of St. Pete Beach. The case summary: initial inspection July 17th, 2025. Notice of violation was dated and sent by certified mail on July 21st, 2025. Notice of violation compliance date 7/31/2025. The notice of hearing was dated and posted on the property 9/22/2025. This is a true and accurate description of what I witnessed. The affidavit of posting on September 22nd at the property 8040 Gulf Boulevard. So these are initial inspections from July 17th. The overgrowth, and you can see the trailer being parked there with the debris on top of it as well. Overgrowth with the trailer. These were actually July 20th. Overgrowth in the trailer. September 15th, the property does appear to be I think they removed the trailer, as you can see, but then the overgrowth is still taken over there. The trailer is gone. They did trim the very front circle, but on the sides it is still overgrown on September 15th. Still overgrown on the sides. So the corrective action, the property must maintain the overgrown landscape. The property is not compliant. The recommended fine is $250 per day beginning from the date of your order, plus $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. They did recently send me, went out there on October 2nd. And overhead, please. So it looks like they have trimmed everything on the side with their debris here on the street ready for collection. So I'm going to say that the property is now compliant and would only be seeking administrative costs, $330.
Thank you. All right, is Richard Schnackenberg or Barbara Schnackenberg here? Or anyone here on behalf of the Schnackenbergs, 8040 Gulf Boulevard? Okay. All right, I am going to find that the property was in violation of the stated code sections, but is now compliant. I am not going to issue any fines. I will assess the $330 in reasonable administrative costs of the city, and we will move on. All right, moving on to 4J, case number 2025047, City of St. Pete Beach versus Tricia Figgins.
Ayaka Ruckshell, representing the City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This is case number 2025047. The respondent is Tricia Figgins. Violation address 434 79th Avenue. Violation description, the property is in violation of sections 46-33, 1A and B, 2, 3, and 12 of enumeration, 98-65-4. Unsightly conditions, 98-66A, B, 20, and 22, A and B2 of residential and commercial property maintenance of the Code of Ordinances of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary, the initial inspection was July 20th, 2025. Notice of violation dated and also sent by certified mail, July 23rd, 2025. Notice of violation compliance date, August 3rd, 2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted on the property, September 22nd, 2025. This is a true and accurate description of what I witnessed. The affidavit of posting on September 22nd at 434 79th Avenue. So these were the initial pictures of the overgrowth on July 20th. If you can see on the left-hand side, there is actually a toilet in the front yard with a white lid. Better picture of the toilet in the yard and a dumpster there in the driveway. The overgrowth and debris. Overgrowth. Side. These were from September 15th. Pictures. Still overgrown. It does appear like the toilet has been removed. Still overgrown. So the corrective action, the property must maintain overgrown landscape. The property is not compliant. The recommended fine is $250 per day from the date of your order, plus $330 for any administrative costs and recording fees that may be associated with this case. I do have updated pictures from October 3rd, showing that it is still overgrown. So I haven't personally spoken with the owner, but she has corresponded with our office, and she does have a permit for repair, and she wanted to focus on the interior before focusing on the landscape. So that's her argument for not doing anything other than removing the toilet that was in her front yard.
Okay. And the trailer that was there?
It didn't appear to be there anymore.
Okay, that's what I saw from the pictures. All right. Okay. Is Ms. Figgins here, or anyone here on behalf of Ms. Trisha Figgins? Anyone here on behalf of 434 79th Avenue? Okay, I am going to find that the property is in violation of the stated code sections except for 4633 subsection 12, because it does appear that the toilet was removed and the trailer is no longer there. But otherwise, for the remainder of the subsections, I am going to allow for, that's quite overgrown, so I'm going to allow for 14 days for the property owner to come into compliance with the stated code sections, and then we will have a status check in November to see if that happened. And if not, we will assess any fines and fees at that time.
Okay. 11:10.
Moving on to 4K, case number 20250495, City of St. Pete Beach versus James Strebler.
Ayako Ruckteschell, representing the City of St. Pete Beach. This is case number 20250495. The respondent is James E. Strebler. Violation address 410 73rd Avenue. Violation description. Property is in violation of sections 46-33, 1A and B, 2, 3, and 12 of enumeration, 98-64A, general maintenance, 98-65-4, unsightly conditions, 98-66A, B, 20, 22, A and B2, and C, 2 and 3 of residential and commercial property maintenance of the Code of Ordinances of the City of St. Pete Beach. The case summary: initial inspection July 8th, 2025. Notice of violation is dated and is also sent by certified by mail on July 22nd, 2025. Notice of violation compliance date August 1st, 2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted on the property September 22nd, 2025. This is a true and accurate description of what I witnessed. The affidavit of posting on September 22nd at the property, 410 73rd Avenue. So this property is, it's called the Contiki Motel. I cited the property on the east building, which is the building on your left over here. See that there's actually four dead trees in front of the property, but it's the two to the left that I'm actually citing at this point in time, and the overgrowth on August 7th. We did have the arborist provide me with a letter for that property, and I'll read it to you first. The trees in front of 410 73rd Avenue are completely dead and should be removed. There are two trees on the south end of the property between the buildings, so in the rear there. Facing south, the one on the left is completely dead and the one on the right is still alive. The one on the left should be removed as well. So that's here overhead if you want to see the email from the city arborist. Pictures of the dead trees from a different angle, from a distance, July 17th. That was debris. We had that removed and taken care of. This is from July 22nd. The trees are still there. Like I said, the debris has been removed from this date. September 15th, the debris is gone and it's still slightly overgrown. Dead trees are visible. Dead trees from September 15th. The corrective action, property must remove all dead trees in the front and the left tree on the south side, back of the property. The property is not compliant. The recommended fine is $250 per day, beginning from the date of your order, plus $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. I did take updated pictures on October 3rd, but the status is pretty much the same. There's been no change. So, you want to see them? Dead trees.
So the overgrowth has been cleaned up, but the dead trees are still there.
Yes. That's particularly the one on the left-hand side of the building, east and south.
So it's the 2 trees in the front and then the one in the rear, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And any communication with the property owner?
None.
Great. Is James Strebler here or anyone here on behalf of Mr. Strebler? James Strebler, 410 73rd Avenue, St. Pete Beach. You said this is a motel, correct?
It is. It's Contiki condos or something it's called.
Contiki, okay. And there was it looked like there was a for sale. Was that like a for sale or for lease sign that was out front?
There is.
Okay. Do you know if the property is actively for sale?
The sign's posted.
Okay.
Yes.
So not, okay.
Mm.
Okay. I am going to find that the property is in violation of Section 9866 as it pertains to number 22, the trees. It looks like the remainder of the property has been cleaned up and is not subjected to the other violations, but the 3 dead trees on the property are in violation of that stated code section. With that being said, I am going to allow for, they've been given quite some time, 14 days from the date of my order to have the trees removed and bring the property into compliance. If not, we will be back here at the November hearing in order to determine fines, fees, costs, compliance. Okay, moving on to agenda item case number, or 4L, case number 20250505, City of St. Pete Beach versus Nancy Howard and William Howard as trustees.
So Ayaka Ruckshell, representing the City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This is case number 20250505. Respondent is William and Nancy Howard, trustees. Violation address 445 84th Avenue. Violation description, property is in violation of sections 46-33, 1, A and B, and 3, enumeration, 98-66, A, B, 20, and 22, A and B2, residential and commercial property, maintenance of the Code of Ordinances of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary, initial inspection on July 20th, 2025. Notice of violation was dated and also sent by certified mail on July 23rd, 2025. Notice of violation compliance date, August 3rd, 2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted on the property on September 22nd, 2025. This is a true and accurate description of what I witnessed. The affidavit of posting on September 22nd at 445 84th Avenue. So the initial inspection on July 20th with showing the dead hedge. The dead hedge, trees, and bush out front. The dead tree. Overgrowth onto the driveway. These are from July 20th, and update pictures, still slightly overgrown, with the hedge still there. And then from September 15th, they had made some improvements. They had removed the dead hedge at the front. But the one on the side still remained. They still have a little bit of a dead overgrowth there. And the overgrowth on the side. The corrective action, the property must maintain the landscape and remove all dead vegetation. The property is not compliant at that point. Recommended fine is $250 per day, beginning from the date of your order, plus $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. I have been in touch with the owner. They have actually been out in Oregon. It's a senior lady who's living with her children out in Oregon, and they have attempted to clean up the property in one situation, but they had trouble with their landscaper, and then hence it got overgrown again, and ultimately I had to take it to special magistrate here. They do have sent some updated pictures. They worked on it this weekend to get it done. So that is overhead, please. The final picture of it is cleaned up now. Yeah. So I'm going to say the property is in compliance and will not be seeking any fines, just administrative costs of $330, sorry.
Okay. Is anyone here on behalf of Nancy or William Howard as trustees? If you could please come up here and state your name for the record.
Okay, I don't know what you want me to say.
And what's your name?
Nancy Howard.
Hi, Nancy. So as you understand, Ms. Rectichel has let me know that your property is now in compliance. So I'm obviously going to find that the property is in compliance. They are asking for $330 in order to cover the administrative costs of the city for bringing this to code enforcement hearing. If you don't have any problems with that, then we are good here, and I will get you an order that will say that. Otherwise, this is your chance to give your side of the story. And
No, as far as I know, there was one hedge on the east side belongs to our neighbor. It's not ours, but we did take out the other ones.
the ones that were yours. And now you have a landscaping company that's pretty regularly going to be maintaining it, as far as you know?
The landscaper we had, his house was destroyed and he's left the area.
Oh.
So I know my daughter, she's in Oregon and she's having a hard time finding somebody to
someone.
keep the yard up.
Okay. But you guys are doing your best to try and, okay. Well, I will let you know, it's important to do so, obviously, because if this comes back before me again, then it might likely be a repeat violation, and that could entail higher fines and fees. At this point, there's not going to be any fines. There's a $330 in administrative costs, and that's it. But I will get you that order. Whenever I make it orally, I will get you a copy of it so that you'll have it for your records.
Okay, so you're like sending me a bill, or do I pay her, or what?
You can talk to Jennifer and she can assist you with that today. Unfortunately, I don't have any connection with that. I just dictate the things, and then whatever happens on the outside. It's kind of a fun gig, but But yes, so just so you know, you will be getting something, though, in the mail from my office that will say that. When you get it, just understand that that's what that is. Okay?
Okay,
All right, that's it.
that's it.
All right,
you.
thank you so much. So I will find that the property was in violation of the stated code sections, but is now in compliance. I'm not going to issue any fines, but I will issue the $330 in reasonable administrative costs of the city.
Okay.
And moving on to agenda item 4M, case number 202500509, City of St. Pete Beach versus Natalia Rutherford.
Hi, Akarak Shell representing City of St. Pete Beach. This is case number 202500509. The respondent is Natalia J. Rutherford. Violation address 502 79th Avenue. Violation description, the property is in violation of sections 46-33, 2, and 12 of enumeration, 98-65-4 unsightly conditions, 98-66A, B, and C residential commercial property maintenance of the Code of Ordinances of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary, initial inspection, July 20th, 2025. Notice of violation dated and also sent by certified mail on July 23rd, 2025. Notice of violation compliance date, August 3rd, 2025. notice of hearing dated and posted on the property September 22nd, 2025. This is a true and accurate description of what I witnessed, the affidavit of posting on September 22nd at 502 79th Avenue. This is the initial inspection on July 20th, showing the debris in the front yard. There's a dumpster there. I don't know why the debris wasn't put in the dumpster, but it was laid out in the front lawn. More construction debris here up against the house on September 15th. The pile still remained there in the front yard of debris, as well as some additional, I don't know what that is. It looks like crates and towards the left there against, on the side of the house. Just construction debris, the door, et cetera, up against the house on September 15th. The corrective action, the property must maintain and remove all debris. Property is not compliant at this stage, and recommended fine was $250 per day beginning the date of your order, plus $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. I have updated pictures from October 3rd. So they have maintained the property, removed the door in the front, as you can see here by the pictures. The debris has also been removed and left a big patch in the grass, empty space there. So at this point in time, I am not seeking any fines, just only administrative costs of $330.
Okay, so the property is in compliance as of
Yes.
today. Okay. All right, is Ms. Rutherford here or anyone here on behalf of Ms. Natalia Rutherford? 502 79th Avenue. Had you had a chance to speak with Ms. Rutherford at all?
Not me personally, but she has corresponded with the office.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I think she may have come in here, actually.
Okay. Then I am going to find that the property was in violation of the stated code sections. However, it is now found to be in compliance. I am not going to assess any fines on the property, but I will assess the $330 in reasonable administrative costs of the city. Moving on to 4N, case number 202504484, City of St. Pete Beach versus John Scott Olson Jr.
Ayaka Ruckshell, representing City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This is case number 2025044. The respondent is John Scott Olson Jr. Violation address 7921 Boca Ciega Drive. Violation description, the property is in violation of sections 46-33, 1A through C, 3 and 13 of enumeration, 98-66A, B, 20, 22, B2 of residential and commercial property maintenance of the code ordinances of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary, initial inspection, July 20th, 2025. Notice of violation is dated and also sent by certified mail on July 21st, 2025. Notice of violation compliance date, July 31st, 2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted on the property September 22nd, 2025. This is a true and accurate description of what I witnessed. The affidavit of posting on September 22nd at the property 7921 Boca Ciega Drive. Initial inspection on July 20th of the overgrown vegetation. And there's a boat trailer parked there with overgrowth underneath it that hadn't been trimmed. These are unregistered vehicles. The car on the right, the black vehicle, the scooter. This is the overgrowth on September 15th. And the September 15th, still heavily overgrown underneath the boat trailer, which you can still see there. Almost devouring the boat trailer. Then on September 22nd, they had actually cut the grass, and you could see the boat trailer parked on the side there. The debris was put out to the side of this road for collection. This is the boat trailer. It is a trailer, I understand, I'm speaking with the property owner, that belongs to his brother. It has Texas plates on it, and it is expired from 2022. This is the unregistered scooter that's on the property. The Florida tag there, it was so faded, you couldn't even see what date that was from. The vehicle on the right also, the black car, just expired this year, July 25. And the trash cans in the driveway. The other vehicle on the right was under tarp. I was not able to see the registration on it. The tag. So the property must maintain landscape and provide proof of registration for all vehicles and trailers. The property is not compliant. The recommended fine is $250 per day, beginning from the date of your order, plus $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. So I would say that the landscape is compliant in that respect. However, the vehicles, the boat trailer, the scooter, and the one car.
Okay, so it would just be 4633 subsection 13 with regard to the storage of the unregistered vehicles on the
Right.
property. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, is anyone here on behalf of John Scott Olson Jr.? Or is John Scott Olson Jr. in attendance? Anyone here for 7921 Boca Ciega Drive? And no further correspondence with the property owner?
No.
Okay. Okay, I am going to find that the property owner is in violation of section 46-33 subsection 13 with regard to the storage of an unregistered boat trailer, scooter, and vehicle on the property. I am going to allow for 14 days for the property to come into compliance from the date of my order, and then we will be back here at the November hearing to determine compliance, fines, and fees if necessary. And we have continued the lien reduction case, so we are moving on to agenda item 8, repeat violations A, case number 20250500507, City of St. Pete Beach versus Karush Bakhti. I'm so sorry. Bakhtiyarian. Okay. Okay. Good. All right.
Thank you, Madam Magistrate. Steve Rivera, City of St. Pete Beach Code Enforcement. This is case number 20250507. Respondent is Karish Bakhtiyarian. I apologize. Violation address is 2606 Pasagrille Way. Violation description: the property is in violation of section 20.03, permitted principal uses and structures of the Land Development Code of the City of St. Pete Beach. Case summary: initial inspection was 7/22/2025. Irreparable and irreversible notice of violation dated 7/28/2025. Notice of hearing dated and posted to the property 8/19/2025. Following is a true and accurate representation of what I witnessed. This is the affidavit of posting, 2606 Pasagrille Way. This is a screenshot of the ad for the VRBO ad for the property. Shows the property manager on there. Another screenshot pertaining to the property. So these are the VRBO reviews. The ones marked in green are the ones that are allowable, permitted reviews. So you see we have the first one here. Says stayed 6 nights, January 2025. and it shows stayed 8 nights, May 2025. Another review for April, 3 nights, 2025, so 1, 2, and 3, outlined in green are permitted. Review number 4 stayed 4 nights in June of 2025, and another one stayed 7 nights in June of 2025, outlined in red, showing the 2 violations for the short-term, over the short-term rental agreement. And another one here, 6, and this one stayed 4 nights in July of 2025. Corrective action. Property is permitted to only have 3 short-term rentals within a 12-month period. All rentals after must be monthly. Property is not eligible again for short-term rental until July of 2026. Recommended fine is $1,500 per repeat violation, 3 reviews, totaling $4,500, plus the $330 administrative costs and any recording fees that may be associated with this case. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay. I'm going to try again. It's not going to be good. Mr. Bakatiarian?
Yeah, my parents cursed me for the last name like that.
Well, mine is easy to say, and people still can't get it right.
Bakatiarian.
Bakatiarian, okay.
Your Honor, I just want to show you some paperwork here. The statute of 2030, if you can read that. The statute of 2030, this was February 11, 2022. If you read that, what is it? It's important to know that the statute enacted in 2016, 2016, and it stated that all the structure with the same use before enactment will be allowed. That means I've been renting this place for 1994. I have all the travel log because they asked me for the travel log. So I have all the travel log, rental log before that. This statute being in 2016, I should be grandfathered in. They commonly known as a grandfather. I should be grandfathered in. Now, after that, we applied for the grandfathered in, October 26. Prior was a Mr. Rivera, which has become a court enforcer. There was a lady, was a Jordan Huff. We sent all the paperwork to her, and we never heard anything from her. And she said, we're going to review that. It says that the city of receiver grandfathering application will review that. Please provide that evidence of either formal rental log, which I have it right here, before 2016. I have all here for you. I'm sorry, this one, that's not it. This is all my travel log, all my rental. You can see that. These are all my, what is that? People were basically affidavit, they're renting my place. So, nobody came in and told me what is that you can rent it. What is that, 3 times. This is before 2016. You guys changed the law after 2016. I shouldn't be part of it because I've been renting this place. This is all. After 2014, VRBO and Airbnb, these are all my documents. Just posted right here. The rule has changed after 2016, but it shouldn't be applied to me. I should be granted grandfathered in. We applied for the grandfathering, but Miss Jordan Huff never worked there, I guess, but she never informed me, hey, what is that, your process is in the system or not? We were looking for some kind of answer from the city. Nobody answered us. So as a result, basically I was in the limbo. What is it? Then there was a previous fine, which became a settlement. Mr. Rivera called me and became a settlement that. And I told him, what about the grandfather? He said, he's in the process. But that moment, after that moment, I never heard from the city. And we really don't try to order the short term. We don't. We really try to order the short term. But you guys allow me, you're telling me 3 times a year in 12 months period. Okay? And then we did exactly based on what that short term was. Besides that, I should be grandfathered in. As I say, city never come to me. They say you cannot have a grandfathered in. They ask for all the document and we send it to them.
So while I can appreciate that, in 2021, in front of me, we had a code enforcement hearing, and I didn't hear any argument about being grandfathered in. That wasn't raised at that time.
You mentioned, actually, I said, my lawyer actually mentioned to you, we are applying, and you said, listen, my job is to give you a fine. My job is not to find out. You guys go apply that. After that moment, we started processing, but they never come back to me. We didn't know that Jordan Hoff never worked here. And nobody wanted to take over and say, hey, listen, Amber is the next person, and then you gotta give me more. Jordan Hoff asked me for rental lot, and we sent it to them. You submit all the paperwork to the city.
Okay. Does the city have any response to that?
So, and I remember speaking with I call him Corey.
Corey, yeah, it's easier.
Sure.
And I told him that, I understand he did submit the paperwork, but it doesn't mean he can do it until he got final answer back. I did explain that to him. It's like applying for a permit doesn't mean you just start working on your house.
Correct.
And that's kind of how I explained it to him. I said, if you had a question about it, you probably should have reached out. We kind of had an understanding with that, but there was nothing, we don't have anything in our system saying that he's grandfathered in.
Do you have an application for grandfathering?
I don't know where that application would be at.
We have
I'm not saying there is or there isn't, I just don't know where that information would be. I just know based on what I can see in my system on my end, I don't see it in there.
So then let me also ask, when you received the notice of violation for this violation, did you go back to the city and say we have a grandfathering application? Did you follow up with the city at all when you didn't?
Mr. Rivera.
And I'm talking about when you submitted with Jordan in 2022, what you showed me quickly through, which I did not have a chance to digest. It looks like there were letters from your lawyer.
Yes, exactly. Let me just show you one by one. This is my letter from my lawyer, okay?
Which is emailed to W. Wright. So that's Wesley Wright, the planning manager.
What's that?
It says this is to Wesley Wright, the planning manager at the time. This is from February 2022. I see a single, are there multiple pages to this email? Or is it just the cover copy of the email? Or
No.
it's a two.
This is a cover copy right here. Right here.
Here's the receipt of the grandfathered application, by the way, dated for October the 26th of 2022.
Can you put that on the overhead, please?
I mean, it was obviously a blank copy because it's already been submitted, but this is when the city is in receipt of your grandfathered application.
Okay, and that would have been Michelle Gonzalez. Okay, so the city's going to receive your grandfather application, and then it says you're requesting additional information if you can provide evidence either in the form of rental logs or Pinellas County Tourist Development Tax or Florida Bed Tax for the years prior to 2014.
I have it right here.
But did you provide that to Michelle Gonzalez at the time?
Everything's in the city. City have all these records.
And okay, so then what I am going to do as of right now is I am going to continue this case for 30 days until the November hearing.
Sure.
What I need you to do is get with the city and figure out where in the application process you are for your grandfathering application.
Okay.
If it is still under consideration, it looks like it's been a few years, if it's still under consideration, and if you still even qualify for the grandfathering. Keep in mind, in most cases, if you are under grandfathering status and you abandon that grandfathering, you are no longer grandfathered in. So if you didn't continuously do it for a period of time and you abandon that, a lot of times you don't get to keep doing it. So I say that to say this. You need to get with the city. You guys need to figure out where the application is because it looks like it was submitted to Ms. Gonzalez. I understand she's no longer with the city. Well, that being said, the city is an entity in and of itself made of a people. There's public records, so there's got to be a record somewhere that says that it was received, that she sent you, that you needed additional information, and if you submitted it, they should have a copy of that.
Who do I have to talk to?
I am telling you right now, I cannot do anything for you. I do not work for the city.
I understand that.
I don't know what the processes are. What I can tell you is I'm going to continue this case until the November hearing. And I'm giving you that time to work with the city to figure out where your application fell through, what happened, and if it can be picked back up, and if you can submit the required documentation in order to confirm or deny that you are grandfathered in prior to the change in the rental code. If in November you can come back to me and say, I've got my application has been confirmed, then the city will likely not bring this back before me. If the city denies your application for grandfathering, then you'll come back before me and then I will look at the case. But much to like what Mr. Rivera said, even if you apply for grandfathering status, if you continue to violate the law until you get that solidified, you're still violating the law. But again, if you get approved for grandfathering status, then that means at least this current code violation will not be considered because you will have been grandfathered in. But if they come back and they deny that application, I'm going to consider this, and I'm going to evaluate it based on the law as it stands. So I need you to make sure that you understand in the next 30 days or until the next hearing, you need to work with the city and figure out where you are in that application, and if you've been denied prior, or if you are accepted into the grandfathering program, the non-conforming use program, okay? So I will get you an order that says that it will be an order to continue. We'll have some extra verbiage in it. Just make sure I have your information to send that to you.
God bless you.
We filled out the
Okay, perfect. All right,
Bless
thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
So then we will continue that until the November hearing. All right, with that, is there anything else we need to discuss while we're here?
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. Then I will see you all. It is adjourned, and I will see you all in November.
Thank you.
Thank you.